That's it.
Good evening. This is an in-person special meeting of the Bridgeport Board of Education. Today is Monday, September 15th, and it is 6:01. I'm Jennifer Friends. In attendance, we have Joe Sokolovic, Rob Traber, Francisco Mendez, Willie Medina. Online, you have Andre Woodson. First item is public speaking when we don't have anyone signed up, so we'll move on to the approval of the updated food and nutrition 2025-2026 food service bids. You just come to the table, Jerry.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. First item for us is the approval of the 25-26 food service bids. I've attached, the price differentials from 24-25 to 25-26 based on these items. With your approval, the Food and Nutrition Department can begin purchasing food for the new school year.
Questions?
Have we not been feeding him yet?
Oh, no. We've been feeding them. We just,
Sorry, it's the obvious question.
Okay.
Yeah, question, are any of the bids higher than, any of the awards higher than?
no, we've selected all of the lowest, best quality bids.
No, the reason I answered, if there's one that's higher, that's higher quality, it could be explained, that's something I'd like to understand. Thank you for it.
Mr. Shamir.
So I see the column here with the price differences, from a yearly perspective, how much more? Is it, I see some items are positive, other are negative. So overall, how much more would food cost this year than last year?
It only goes up about 2 to 3%. Most of the items are about 2 to 3 cents to 9 cents increase, and if something is really high, we look for an alternate lower cost.
Is it like an additional $10,000 a year, or how much does that equate to from a year perspective?
I would have to do some research on that one because it's totally pennies, but I couldn't get that.
Okay, it's not a big deal if it's just pounds.
Mr. Benningham joined the meeting as well. Any other, Mr. Traver?
Yeah, I would ask you to have that at the regular meeting.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mr. Collins.
New question / point. Yeah, when we say pennies, it's from my mind. I would like to see percentages, because pennies add up. If it's like a 10% increase, so those pennies can get pretty big, so.
Okay, I didn't get you the percentages.
For future, I would prefer, I can't tell you. I would prefer to see like percentage increase. Thank you.
Mr. Medina?
Um,
Mr. Traver?
yeah, I go back though. I'd still like to know what total amounts.
I'll get that for you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a comment. If we know the total amount of the contract, we could easily find it out here if it's a 2% increase.
I can get you that information as soon as possible. I just have to review all of them, get the totals from this year, last year, and get you the percent.
Approve the updated food and nutrition 25-26 food service bid.
Moved by Mr. Traver, seconded by Ms. Shamir Mendez. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next item is the approval of the signature change form ED 099.
So to make, food and nutrition, we are seeking the change of the signature change form, the ED 099. That is for Dr. Avery from moving from acting to interim superintendent. So we just need to update that with the state.
Mr. Traver,
We need to read something specific, or can we just move to change the,
you just want to change it.
move to change the ED 099? To change the form ED 099. Second.
Moved by Mr. Traver and seconded by Mr. Medina. Any further debate? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. The next item is the approval. The approval of the reallocation of grant funds to support a special education corrective action plan positions for community specialists and learner engagement and attendance.
Evening, I am coming back to share with the board that we are in need of proposing for amending our IDEA grant funds to establish a position that will assist us in addressing one of the three corrective action areas. So we are actually identified as a district needing level 1 intervention. And a part of that corrective action plan is to look at your IDEA funds and determine how you can reallocate those funds to address the efforts and that are identified in the corrective action plan. The three areas are disproportionate suspension expulsion rates for students with disabilities, timely correction of noncompliance, and chronic absenteeism for students with disabilities. And in meeting with the state on July 23rd and July 30th, definitely on July 30th, we discussed ways in which we can use our IDEA funds to address chronic absenteeism. I've been working with Carly Richard Reyes. We do have LEAP specialists already in the district, but this would be using this position to specifically address the chronic absenteeism at BLC and our transition academy. Basically, again, working with the state, they're going to work with us in identifying how to amend our funds. You have to address specifically how you're using your IDEA funds to work on your noncompliance. And we already addressed the disproportionate suspension rates and the timely correction of noncompliance. This also ties with like I said, the chronic absenteeism, and this individual would report to the position that we came to you earlier, the Assistant Chief of Special Education.
Any questions?
Oh, thank you. Okay, Mr. Woodson.
Mr. Woodson?
What will be some of the duties that they will be doing?
So identifying those students who are determined as being chronically absent, and so when you look at chronic absenteeism, that is 10 days or more. And also what counts with that are your out of school suspension and your expulsion days also goes towards that. Working with the attendance teams on the campus and the administrators in identifying those students. When we identify the students, working specifically with the students and their families to identify the barriers of what's keeping them from coming to school. And if it's resources that they need in the community, that we help them to access those resources. Preparing monthly attendance reports to identify the students. Surveys with students and families to identify those barriers, establishing goals for the students to address getting them to return to school and to attend. Again, meeting with the attendance teams, maintaining professional awareness of regulations regarding child welfare and attendance, and assisting in planning and facilitation of professional development activities to support our school-based staff, are just some of the duties.
Okay, but if those students aren't coming to school, how do you plan on getting in contact with those students?
So one, it would be, Mr. Woodson, in just identifying who the students are. And some of it could be home visits, telephone calls, meeting with the parents, inviting the parents to come to the district to meet with them. I've had some success with some of our difficult parents, our parents, not difficult parents, but parents who are having difficulties at campuses, who have actually come up to the district to meet with me in person, face to face. So even offering that to meet with parents, to meet in a safe space for them as well. Reaching out to the students to schedule times when we're talking BLC and the Transition Academy, to meet with them in those spaces as well.
Yeah, but I'm concerned about really getting in contact with students that are the most vulnerable, that are not easy to get in contact with. Because we just had a meeting with Sergeant Greg, I think that's his name, and I asked him, I know when I was in school, I went to Bridgeport Public Schools, and they had truancy officers. So I asked them, I said, do we have truancy officers? Do we have any way to, go knock on doors? That's what the part of the truancy officer job was, to knock on doors of kids that wasn't coming to school on a regular basis. So I asked him, he told me that the only thing that's, standing in the way of having truancy officers is money. So if we could just need people.
Mr. Woodson, let's just make sure we don't, talk about what we discussed in executive session. So if you could use that with, share what you need to share, but without whatever we talked about in executive session.
Okay, so bottom line, can we use money for truancy officers?
So the role is very similar to that. So when I say home visits, that is what I'm saying. And that, someone goes out with this individual to, yes, knock on doors and to actually have those face-to-face meetings with parents in a space that they are feeling comfortable. And that could be at the home as well.
I think that's an option that needs to be really thought about, because there's options that we have been using haven't seemed to be working. So we need to start using options that haven't been afforded to us in the past. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yes.
Ms. Medina, I think you're on the right track. Sorry, Mr. Woodson, I think you're on the right track regarding using those options that we've had some success with our LEAP program that has a similar component of going in and interacting with families and students in their homes. Again, as we look at the kids with special needs and why they're on this corrective action list, we're going to dive deeper into the actual reasons for, and part of that is going to be looking at some of the same strategies that we use with the LEAP programs with this particular individual, because this is more of a targeted focal point regarding getting these kids back into the play. A lot of things that when I've looked into this whole deal about special needs kids, what's been happening, I think, is when the district disciplines the special needs kids, they're giving them an automatic 10 days out for whatever incident that they do. And the 10 days should be an option, a continuum of what they could use. But when you look at most of the kids, they've been getting 10 days here, 10 days here, 10 days here. So it may be a total of 30 days throughout the whole school year. And that right there impacts chronic absenteeism. And so when you look at, I may give a kid, I have an option of 10 days, but I can give them 2 days here, 2 days here, and 2 days here. So over a period of a year, they've only had 6 days of absences in the school year. So there's a lot of things that we're going to have to kind of uncover as we look at this. But again, this person will give that list of kids that's on that corrective action plan an opportunity to go real targeted to why these kids, and we have kids all different ages, from 6, 7, 8 years old to seniors in school. So again,
When you talk the transition academy, you're talking your 18 to 22-year-olds.
so all the way up to 22 years of age as well, they still are considered part of that chronic absenteeism as well. So yes, I think we're looking at those options, and as we expand and target a little bit more, we'll have more options to be able to consider. And the school truant officers is an option that we may want to consider moving forward as well. So thank you for that consideration.
Yes, because I want the program to be most effective, and most important, I want the person to be doing this job want to be safe, because we all know that some of the neighborhoods that these kids live in aren't the best neighborhoods. So I don't want the people doing the job to feel like, oh, that's not a good neighborhood, we can't go there. I want them to send people that are suited, that are well equipped to do the job and make sure that the job is being done effectively. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yeah, a couple of things. This job seems mostly administrative in nature. We were all at the last board meeting. Said this money could be used for compliance hours and all that stuff as well. We were all at the meeting where a couple of teachers came and said, special ed paras are being pulled from their classroom to change students' diapers in regular education. We all heard that. So how are we spending money on one subsection of children? I say it's not needed over potential 2,300 hours of special ed substitute service, where we can catch up more on compliance, either paras or social work, psychosocial workers, because we're not told with, but I don't think we're totally in compliance right now and all caught up with all our special education. It seems like every new job we approve is administrative in nature and not forward-facing to the students that are already here. I implore us to consider the students that are already here and to think about it. Think about that teacher that came and said they're pulled from their job to go change a diaper. And think, what we're balancing here is checking on kids who aren't coming to school, which we already got the LEAP program doing, versus child in a soiled diaper, either being left in that soiled diaper until somebody can get there, or a special education paraprofessional moving down to the classroom to change that student's diaper and not servicing the child. That should be serviced.
That's right. So those are two separate issues. And we are looking, in fact, today we were in classrooms actually looking at the needs, kindergarten, where special education students are impacting and special education students are not impacting. This position, because identified by the state as being non-compliant for chronic absenteeism, is because we have to address the use of IDEA funds. If we don't do it, the state will do it for us. So I understand what you're saying, and I want you to please know that we are not being deaf to that concern as well.
You said there's 3 uses, correct?
I'm sorry,
You said there's 3 uses in the corrective action plan. The IDEA funds can be.
there are 3
One
areas.
is catching up on the compensatory hours.
So that is specific to the 21, I think it was the 2021 corrective action, systemic corrective action. So we have not completed that. So that's where that timely non-compliance comes in. Not currently, but from that 2020-21 systemic complaint. The other is the disproportionate suspension expulsion rates for students with disabilities, which we've been discussing this is year 2 that we're discussing that as far as where I've been involved. And then the chronic absenteeism, I believe that's also another ongoing area. So it's not that we have to have 3 different positions, but you have to have someone that's addressing the chronic absenteeism and how you're using the IDEA funds. If we want to come back and look at how we can use IDEA funds or other funds to support the classrooms that need that support, where special education students are requiring that additional support, we can do that as well. But this is specifically addressing a corrective action plan that the state clearly says that they advise the district, if we don't, that they will come in and advise us of available resources and technical assistance to address the areas in need of assistance and how it's related to our IDEA funds. Right now, we are considered high risk with our IDEA funds, which means if we don't address it, they can specifically address it for us. And I would rather us not.
And the corrective action plan has 3 buckets, right? I would just like a yes or no answer to the question. Could this money be used in compliance with the IDA grant to hire special education paraprofessionals or paraprofessional substitutes to catch up on one of the problems in the IDA grant, in the corrective action plan that has been identified by the state?
No. Because that's not an area that's identified by the state.
So what,
So you're
So
asking,
did you read over those?
can we use this for paraprofessionals in the classroom to address the diapering, toileting needs?
and compensatory hours, and compensatory hours in every
But
area?
a parent cannot provide the compensatory hours.
Aren't there students that have one-on-one paras that didn't have those services and need to be made up for?
So again, in the corrective action plan, it is not for right now. This is for the 2020, 2021 systemic complaint. That we are still in 2025 addressing that complaint.
Which is in our packet.
It seems off to me, I think other psychosocial services can't be used as well to address the chronic suspensions and absenteeism and students. I don't know, just see, anyway, I'll be voting against this. I got a follow-up question. Why are we still in the packet? Very important job. Have we changed the salary lower to reflect the high school diploma only required for this position, or are we still gonna pay them more than our teachers, entry-level teachers and paraprofessionals who actually require their associate's degree?
So in meeting with Dr. Avery, we are proposing a salary range of 45 to 55.
I guess that's all I have.
Mr. Chamber.
Well, I'll start with that then. Can you explain?
Explain,
Well, you two met and talked, so can y'all explain that,
The rationale about.
the rationale
Change
between
it
45 to
Because it was
55?
requested by the board member, because the board member thought
You
that
know,
was
we're gonna talk to the bargaining units and figure out what makes sense.
right.
So now you said you talked and you came up with this new range of 45 to 55, which is essentially the starting salary range of a member of the BEA collective bargaining unit. So can you explain why you chose that range?
In the year, not in the year.
so it is a non-affiliated, we're still wanting to move forward with it being a non-affiliated position. We discussed hourly versus a salary range and just came up with between 45 and 55. Even with meeting with Mr. Nekwo, the take home for this individual would be, what did you say?
Wait,
Basically
$37,000 when we do all the deductibles.
So did you conclude salary or hourly? We discussed hourly or salary. You didn't say what you conclude.
So we came to the conclusion of proposing that it would be a salary range between 45 and 55.
And no bargaining unit.
Unaffiliated, non-union.
And you're thinking behind that.
Restrictions on the person doing the work after hours. You would have to do that within the working time frame. And so there has to be a little bit of flexibility behind being able to get them to a home when the parents are there, those types of things early morning. There's some things that have to be, some flexibility there that needs to be, adhered to as well.
Okay, now, I understood going back. We've never been provided any data from you that I know of that explains why BLC and the Transition Academy are. But you're saying it's historic.
So in the
I haven't
currently,
seen it recently in this whole discussion.
Remember,
Explain the positions, it's historic, you're saying.
the complaints from 2021, we were not here either.
Right.
So she's taking the complaint and being able to kind of utilize the complaint. She doesn't have all the necessary supporting documents with it because the person that was here did not have those. What she's done is set with the technical assistant person from the state to kind of work through what needs to happen in order for us to be in compliance. So that's kind of what has happened, in the short period of time that Michelle has been here. She's taking those items and, we've addressed, again, 2 of the 3 items by just doing some of the things that we're doing in the district. And then the third one popped back up because we just didn't have that focal point of how we're going to make sure kids are coming to school. A lot of those kids are coming from the BLC campus and the transition.
so just to kind of give you an idea, in July, which is around the same time that we were notified from the state. And this is this is our determination for
July what year? I just want to make sure because I don't want to assume July what year you referring to?
2025 is when we were notified from the state. So this is our determination for 2024. So this is data from 23-24. So it's like we're a year behind. Knowing our current data, it is still, in July, when I say historical, I can go from 23-24. So for 24-25, with BLC, we were at 67.8% chronic absenteeism. For the Transition Academy, it was 35%. In working with Ms. Rocha Reyes,
You repeat the transition, please.
the Transition Academy was 35%. And on September 8th, Bridgeport Learning Center was at 40%. And Transition Academy was at 23%.
In 1 year,
Well, and it has decreased from the beginning of the school year, but then what we saw last year with both of these programs is that throughout the year, it increased. In working with Ms. Rocha Reyes, we currently have LEAP specialists, but no one has been assigned to BLC and Transition Academy, which is why we decided to use this position specifically for those two programs. Because don't get me wrong, when we look at our special ed data alone, there are many campuses that there is a concern, but we have LEAP specialists who are working with our other 37 campuses. But these 2 did not have anyone specifically assigned to them.
I can speculate, but as to what happened last year that might have affected their chronic absenteeism, at least BLC.
I can kind of globalize that a little bit.
They're on the chopping block.
There was a lot of different things over the last couple of years where we're going to keep the campus, not keep the campus kind of thing. And there was just a lot of that throughout the last 2 years.
Where is the Transition Academy?
Is that central?
Correct, that's what I thought.
Mhm.
So, and they're more stable than BLC was.
Mhm.
And so they both obviously improved dramatically at the beginning of this year. Without this intervention.
Yes, and it could be that some of the students had not re-enrolled yet,
Okay.
which is another thing to look at.
It's premature.
Yes, which is to determine those students who were on our roster in July who are not showing up now.
Yeah.
Where are they?
We got that.
Okay.
So, you're the one that brought up this year. I would not have, it's too early. I'm with you.
But no, when I shared the data at the last meeting, those percentages, I just wanted in case someone looked at where we are now, that what I shared at the last meeting was really how we ended the school year in July.
Yeah, but the historic data, what I'm talking about is over an extended period of time, what we see that leads us to decide. Because in talking to people, they don't see it the same way. And so, but I keep hearing the state. That's what I hear. That's the biggest word that comes into me is the state, not what we're looking at and deciding on our own. And I understand that. And I understand the importance of that. I'm not minimizing.
And don't get me wrong, the state is not saying that that this is the route that we have to go. The state is saying that you have to use IDEA funds to address your compliance.
The state is saying you have to do something or we will.
Pretty much, yeah.
I heard that. So this is your thoughts on what you think is the best way to go in response to that suggestion / whatever you want to call it, from the state. And so we're taking this step, which you have determined is the best step we should take.
And her division is gonna be held accountable for making sure she follows through with it.
I get it.
That's
I
the way it's supposed to
understand.
work.
And we have these other components that Mr. Woodson was raising, et cetera. These other pieces like LEAP that have been discussed are all components that we have to trying to address this issue. And we'll discuss this in my committee. We'll discuss this in other places as we go through the year to see have we wisely spent this money. This is one expenditure. I understand, the concern that Mr. Sakalovic has raised, also, which is we have these other issues, and I understand what you're saying about the kindergarten versus that. But that is what we're hearing from the kindergartens, which I will be asking you about in my committee. And we have my next committee meeting. So we'll discuss it at the end of the month. I'm glad to hear you're looking at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, quick question. So during the last meeting, there was up for debate if this role was gonna be either 10 months or 12 months. I see the file on the portal says 10 months still. Is that the case or are we gonna extend it to more?
So I would like to extend it to 12 months because, sometimes you can't catch students during the school year. And again, look at the difference of where we ended and where we are now. So could we have recouped some of those students? Have we had someone working during the summer trying to ensure that those that weren't coming in in June to ensure that they were coming back in August? So yes, it would be beneficial to extend this as a 12-month position.
Is what's being proposed.
Yes.
Mr. Benningham?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to go back what Ms. McKinley say about the trend. When you say they're gonna visit the student at home and everything, are they gonna have translate, to be sure when the staff go, they have whoever could speak, Spanish, English, another language?
Yes, and that's going to be, as we are looking at our students, it's a deep dive within their file to ensure that we, are reaching out and that they don't go alone. And whether that is with someone that, even if it's a bilingual person who fills this position, that they still have someone that will go with them for home visits.
All right, thank you. And the other thing, I know I'm agree with a little part with Mr. Woodson say about the neighborhood. I don't want they say because, oh, the neighborhood's not good or something like that, I cannot go there. And I'm agree with that part what Mr. Wood said. Just because the neighborhood is not good, doesn't mean that family is gonna be the same place. So we have to understand that part. So I agree with Mr. Wood said. And I know you said something about the state required, the information you give it to them. You know something, let us that state come and visit your department and you can show them everything what we have, because I know your department is not easy to work with special education. They think it's easy. They don't see, I believe you have almost 4,500, students we have in total for no school. And we'll be glad they come and show up. And then the last thing I want to say, this is the reason we need our paraprofessionals back. I want to say that for the record. Thank you, Madam Chair, and everyone.
Thank you. Trying to find it in the portal. What was the position called? Because now I have a title that I can find in my paperwork. What's the title of this position?
Special education, sorry, the 3D specialist for learner engagement and attendance.
Okay, and you said there was a not compliant issue, but you're saying that BOC and the transition school do not have a lead specialist. But nevertheless, from the last numbers of 68.8%, BOC had a better outcome of over close to 28%, and then the transition had upwards of almost 13% without a lead specialist.
But keep in mind, we don't know where those students, so we ended the school year with students on that
Trying to
roster.
get to the question, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't-
Yeah, no, I was just trying to figure out, no, I'm sorry, I just didn't want you to think I was attacking you. I'm trying to ask, like, why are those campuses don't have a lead specialist? That was where I was leading to my question. Guess what?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And I apologize, I do not have an answer to that. It was not an area that specifically special ed has been involved in until we did get the determination from the state. And in investigating and gathering data to develop the corrective action plan, that's when I did realize that those two campuses had not been in.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Is there a motion? Is there a motion for anything of it, to deny it, the board? There,
Motion for approval of the relocation of grant funds to support a special education corrective action plan position. Community specialist for learner engagement and attendance.
a second. I'll second it. Any further debate? All in favor, say aye.
Please.
Roll call. Andre Woodson,
No.
Joseph. Jim Perez, yes. William Medina,
No.
Maritza Shamir Venice,
Yes.
Albert Benningham,
Yes.
Rob Traber,
Yes.
passes 4-3. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the signing bonus.
So I'll be brief. The student handbook is reviewed and revised and updated each school year. So we're in the process of doing that for this school year. The revisions are based on the policy revisions that were approved at the end of last school year when it came to challenging behaviors and restorative practices and school climate and culture. So the only updates to the behavior are around the policy. So first of all, I'd like to thank, Jeff Dorsey from the DEA reached out to me to have some of his members to look at the handbook as well, to make sure that we were all in agreement and alignment with the updates. So I did meet with Jennifer Kellerman, Joseph DeGroat, and Lisa Balzano from the DEA, as well as BCAS. All the administrators were shared the revisions and the updates to the student handbook at the opening of school, PD, and all their feedback was taken into consideration into the revised handbook as well. So, I do have the red line. All the updates, are, like I said, the updates to the policy that were passed by the board, as well as the updates to the challenging behaviors, school climate and culture, and restorative practices. And you'll see every update. I also just wanted to provide you with a copy of the challenging behavior report form. Because that is the form that we will make available to parents, students, and staff that aligns with the handbook. So in the event that a parent, student, or staff has a concern about a challenging or bullying behavior in the school, they fill out this reporting form. It will be attached to the handbook and available on the website once the handbook is approved. And that will initiate an investigation of the bullying and the challenging behaviors.
Any questions?
One more thing, I think the biggest thing you might notice, historically, the student handbook and the code of conduct and responsibility were one document. They were separated, but based on the feedback of the administrators, they asked to be put back together so that they had everything in one document. So when they were reviewing the behaviors, they could also refer to the code of conduct as far as the tiered behavioral support that was put in place to support students.
Mr. Woodson?
Yes, are there any changes to the cell phone policy for the students?
Mr. Wilson, we did not change the policy for that. You know, that was one of the options of all districts in the state of Connecticut. At one point in time, the legislators, they were going to provide some guidance across Connecticut, but they left that to individual districts to, consider their own cell phone policy. That is something that we will, if the board is wanting us to consider changing the cell phone policy moving forward, we can do that. I think one of the good things that we have before us is that there are several districts around us that have changed their cell phone policy for their districts this school year. And so as we start looking and evaluating surrounding districts and how that, the pluses and minuses of that, that's going to help us as we look to change ours if necessary as well. So that's something that I think is on the horizon for the district. But right now, we didn't feel that we had so many other things that we had before us to, especially budgetary things that we had to kind of sum up first. So that's something we will be looking to in the next, hopefully over the next year. So we will have a discussion on that as well.
Okay, because I know in the future, we're going to be looking to, the experts and the people who deal with these kids every day to, guide us on what the policy should be. We shouldn't, we all care about the kids, but we're not the experts and we're not the ones in class. So we'll be looking for you guys information and feedback on, what's the best policy. From what I'm hearing, I'm hearing, no phones is the best policy, and is the best route to go for, to try to, make the environment a little bit better for the kids. But that's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calvin?
Yeah, I'm sitting here watching a couple of full board members scramble through this, the red lines. I'm really not going to scramble through this, the red lines. I don't see it in board book unless I overlooked it. We dropped on this. I don't know if the red lines are correct or not. I've had enough time to my oversight or not. If we could be rushing through this with the red lines and all this, I think we could postpone this item for another time since we already got the policy in place and we already got the handbook. The existing handbook is in place. I don't see this as paramount to rush through before we all had a time to really look at this.
Mr. Chairman?
I concur. It appears to be a very well done. I mean, I see the red, I see that it's very easy to read. It's just the one for me to read right now. I did not see it on the agenda. I looked at the agenda, see this myself. And I remember talking earlier today about being downstairs for the Hispanic Heritage Month ceremony at the Board of Ed at the city council meeting and saying, oh, we should be out there, no problem. On this meeting, because either I overlooked it or did not see it, but I did not see that we had a full agenda tonight for this meeting. And we have a regular board meeting next Monday, don't we?
Yeah.
So we could just deal with this next Monday at our regular meeting. I'm not sure why we're having all these special meetings, but this strikes me as something that we can, it's nicely done, it's nice and clear, but it doesn't need to be done tonight. So I concur with Mr. Sokolovic. Rather put this off for a week and unless there's some urgent reason that I know.
So yes, the other existing handbook is in place and we will follow that. The importance is just the updates to policy and administrators wanting to share the handbook to start off the school year. But what I did offer, and this was a concern with some of the members as well. So what I did offer is that once it's approved, we will create a PowerPoint, and I will go through all the highlights of the handbook and send the video so that teachers and staff can share it with students, and so it doesn't put any extra burden on them.
I completely understand, but we were talking before the meeting started about why we have this surge of special meetings at the beginning of this week. And
This is only special meeting, the other ones were committee meetings.
right, I was referring to split committee meetings and these. It's like, I just we have a regular board meeting next Monday and so
I want to say that I agree with both of them. Just looking through this, I can tell you spent a lot of time on this. So I certainly want to make sure that I give it the attention that it deserves. So with that, I would like to do a motion to postpone for the next regular board meeting next week. The approval of the student handbook.
second.
Motion has been made and seconded by Mr. Sokolovic. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions?
I think there was some miscommunication regarding what meeting this was gonna be put on, so I take full ownership of that. So again, it was just the clarity, so we kind of put it on here. I was told it was ready to go, then maybe not, so not a big deal, we'll work through it, I think we have another week to get it done, we'll work it out.
Yeah, no, it's good work. I mean, no insult, but we were all hoping to make it downstairs for the flag ceremony of Hispanic Heritage Month, City Council.
There, motion to adjourn?
Adjourn, Madam Chair.
Second, on favor?
Aye.
You can adjourn at 6:49. Thank you.
The ceremony?
Good night, everyone. God bless you all.
They're doing one flag ceremony.